Today we're going to talk about the word whereas. Have you ever heard this word? It's a connecting word. It connects two parts of a sentence into one. What a great idea, connecting two things into one thing. So, have you ever seen this word? Do you know how to use it? Do you know what it means? Look at this example. Most people like busy jobs, whereas I prefer a slow-paced work environment. Okay? Most people like busy jobs, whereas I prefer a slow-paced work environment. What do you prefer, guys? Okay, so here we're comparing people who like busy jobs, and we're comparing them to people who like, or I prefer a slow-paced work environment. So we're comparing these two ideas. Let me know in the comments, which do you prefer? Do you prefer working in like a fast-paced, work environment, like maybe McDonald's? If you work at McDonald's and you work in the drive-through section, those people always seem really busy to me. They're wearing that kind of that headset, and they're taking your order, and they're just running around getting like the French fries and the burger and the coffee. Okay, and they put it all together. Okay, here's your food, and then they're just busy getting everything ready, and they seem like busy people all the time. So I've asked a lot of people, this question, and a lot of people like busy jobs. They tell me time goes by faster when you're busy, whereas I prefer a slow-paced work environment. So let me know in the comments, which do you prefer? Okay, so you can see here, this word whereas kind of means but, right? We could use the word but here, okay? So in some situations, whereas and but are interchangeable. You could use either one and keep the same meaning sometimes. So like we could say this: most people like busy jobs, but I prefer a slow-paced work environment. Okay, same meaning. The difference is that like but is a pretty strong contrast. Okay, whereas is a softer contrast. Whereas is a little bit more, it kind of shows that you're a little bit removed, a bit more removed from the situation. Okay, so it's usually kind of comparing two ideas without saying which one is better than the other. Okay, do you know what the word while means? So the word whereas is a soft word, kind of like the word while. This word right here. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, most people like busy jobs, while I prefer a slow-paced work environment. Okay, so this word while and also the word whereas are kind of, they're softer than the word but. They're more professional, or they're more, it's kind of a more formal English. You'll see the word whereas or while used more in writing, usually in like normal speech. People often use the word but sometimes you can't change the word. You can't replace the word whereas with the word but. Sometimes you can't do it. Like, look at this example here, okay? Whereas some people thrive under pressure, others perform best in a relaxed environment. Okay, so notice we can start a sentence with whereas here. Okay, so whereas some people thrive under pressure, others perform best in a relaxed environment. Do you know what thrive means? Thrive means you can do really well in a certain environment. Okay, for example, mosquitoes thrive in warm, wet environments, right? In the summertime, if it rains, there's a lot of moisture in the air and on the ground and stuff. And if it's hot weather, the mosquitoes just thrive. But in the winter, mosquitoes don't thrive in the winter, right? Here in Canada, the mosquitoes die. I don't even know where do they, how do they, where do mosquitoes come from, guys, in the summertime? If they all die in the winter, where do they come from in the summertime? They just kind of come out of nowhere, right? It's like frogs. Suddenly, the summertime comes here in Canada, and if you walk kind of past like a field or something, some wet place, suddenly you can hear frogs, their croaking sound. Well, where did they come from? How did they survive minus 40 weather? I don't know, guys. Some things are beyond me. They're beyond me. That means you don't understand them. If you say that's beyond me, it means it's too hard for you to understand. It's too advanced for you to understand. That's beyond me. But if you know where frogs and mosquitoes live in the winter, let me know down in the comments. Okay, so notice that you can start sentences with whereas, but it's not a good idea to start sentences with the word but. Okay? That's one difference. Like, look at this. Can we use the word but here? Could we say, but some people thrive under pressure, others perform best in a relaxed environment? No. We cannot say but. We could say while. Okay? Well, some people thrive under pressure, others perform best in a relaxed environment. Okay, so whereas and while are they're basically the same thing. Okay? So here's another example. Trudeau is a globalist, whereas Trump is a nationalist. Okay? So we're comparing Trudeau and Trump, right? Do you know what globalist and nationalist mean? Nationalist, if you are a nationalist, it means you believe countries should protect their identity and protect their sovereignty. Okay, the word sovereignty means like control, should protect their autonomy. Autonomy means freedom. Okay, they should kind of protect their own culture, maybe language, identity, that kind of stuff. A globalist, they are kind of the opposite of nationalists. They're thinking about the globe, their world. Their dream is to have like open borders. Let's all just have one big country around the world. No borders. And just all be together as one, like, citizens of the world kind of thing, right? So, which one are you? Are you a globalist or a nationalist? Now, does this sentence show us which is better? Which one is better? No, we don't know which is better in this sentence. And that's why we're using the word whereas. Okay, Trudeau is a globalist, whereas Trump is a nationalist. We're just comparing, or we're contrasting Trudeau and Trump. Okay, we're not saying which one is better. Okay, so we're just kind of trying to give the information. We're trying to connect this idea to this idea, right? With this word whereas. You could even use the word and in some situations. Like, Trudeau is a globalist and Trump is a nationalist. Okay, so sometimes the word but is too strong of a contrast. Sometimes it might be better to use the word and. Or, like, what I mean is, sometimes the word whereas is almost more similar to the word and than but. Does that make sense? So look at this. Look at this sentence. I bought him a gift, but he didn't like it. Okay. This is a normal sentence in English, right? I bought him a gift, but he didn't like it. Can we change the word but to while or whereas? Could we say, I bought him a gift, whereas he didn't like it? Or I bought him a gift while he didn't like it? No, we can't. We have to use the word but here. So, in this sentence, there aren't two ideas that we're kind of comparing or contrasting, right? There are not two ideas here. There's one thing. I bought him a gift, but he didn't like it. We could say that, like, look at this sentence, okay? John loved the gift, whereas Rob didn't. Here, we have two things that we can contrast, right, or compare. So John loved the gift. We're comparing John's attitude to the gift and Rob's. Okay? So we could use the word but here. John loved the gift, but Rob didn't. Or we could even use the word and here. John loved the gift and Rob didn't. So sometimes you can choose which connecting word you think is best in a certain situation, right? That's why it's good to get a feeling for the word, right? Because some words mean the same thing. They might just be a bit softer, a bit, I don't know. Words, and that's the advantage of being a native speaker, because native speakers typically know what feeling the word carries, right? And which word might be a little bit better in this situation or that situation, right? So anyway, this is a good place to use this word because we're comparing two ideas here. Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out is that you need to use a comma. So if the word whereas is in the middle of a sentence, then it's going to be like this, right? Blah, 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 comma, space, whereas, blah, 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 right? Here, if it starts with the word whereas, then you need to use a capital letter, right? Whereas, blah, 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 and then comma, and then blah, 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 right? So that's just something to note. To note that you need to use a comma. Like, look at this example here. Whereas most stores in Germany close on Sundays, in Canada they stay open. Right? So whereas most stores in blah 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 blah, comma, in Canada they stay open. That's true. If you want to buy some clothes in Canada, or you want to buy a phone or anything, most stores in Canada stay open on Sundays. Most malls are open here on Sundays. But in Germany, most stores are closed, guys. I lived in Germany for about half a year, and I was surprised. Like, that's one thing that just kind of shocked me, because everything's closed on Sundays there. Almost everything, maybe some, restaurants or that kind of thing, but like malls or clothing stores, maybe it's changed now, I don't know. But back when I was there, that's definitely something I noticed. I was like, man, everything's closed. It's so quiet. There's no way to buy anything. How do I buy anything? Right? Because in Canada, like, if you live in a normal city, Walmart is going to be open. Superstore is going to be open. You can buy food. You can buy, like I said, anything you want. Like some stores might have reduced hours on Sundays. Like maybe Walmart will close a bit earlier on a Sunday. But in the major cities in Canada, I would say, I think most of the Walmarts or Superstore, I think they're open till at least 10 or 11, maybe 12. They're open a lot. Open at maybe 7 in the morning, close at like 11 p.m. And some stores change their hours from winter to summer. There's summer hours, maybe they're open later, and in the winter they close, I don't know, maybe an hour or two earlier. So, it depends, but like Walmart or any of the major stores here in Canada, they are open 7 days a week. Even like Christmas, Easter, I don't think those stores ever close. Okay, I've never, like in Calgary, I don't think I've ever seen a Walmart closed. Ever. They close after, in the night, in the middle of the night, right? Or maybe on Christmas their hours are like shorter. But I've never seen a day. I could be wrong about this, but I don't remember ever experiencing a day when the major stores in Canada were closed, or at least in the big cities. Anyway, how about in your country? In your country, are stores open on Sundays? So there's an example, right? We started with whereas, and then we put a comma, and then we said the rest of our sentence. Okay, here's another example. BC is humid, whereas Alberta is dry. Okay, so here's the first part of our sentence, then comma, whereas Alberta is dry. Okay, you could use but here. You could say BC is humid, but Alberta is dry. Or you could use and. BC is humid and Alberta is dry. It depends on kind of what you're trying to... It depends on what your intention is. It depends on what the situation is, right? If you're trying to contrast, give a hard contrast, you might use the word but. But if you just want to give two things with kind of a softer comparison, then you could use the word whereas. This is a perfect situation, right? It's not saying which one is better or which one is worse. It's just giving you the facts. BC is humid, whereas Alberta is dry. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have humid weather or dry weather? I love humid weather, guys. I don't know. My skin gets too dry in dry climates. So I'd love to live in, I don't know, a warm, not super hot, but a warm, humid climate. That's the best for me. I love those climates. So anyway, guys, for homework today, try to use the word whereas in a sentence. Okay, are we still recording, guys? Yeah, we are. Thank you so much for joining me here, guys. Sometimes you just need to try to use a word. And like I said, you're probably going to see this word more in written English than in spoken English, but it's also common in spoken English too. Okay, so if you're ever reading the news or you're reading a book or something and you see this word, try to get the feeling for it and see if you can replace it with the word but. Because sometimes it's fine to change it to but. Sometimes you can't at all. So just kind of pay attention to that and try to use it. Make a sentence with whereas down in the comments. Thank you guys for all your nice comments. Thank you for always smashing that like button. I really appreciate it. So let me know your homework, and I'll look forward to reading your sentences. Guys, I love you very much, and as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.